Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Royal Jelly. And this is a new horror film from writer-director Sean Riley, and probably loosely based off of a short story from Roald Dahl, focusing on a young outcast who gets brought in by this substitute teacher and helps with raising her bees, and then strange things happen. You have random young woman on this farm who's pregnant with something. And then our protagonist becomes pregnant with something. And she's being groomed to become the new queen bee of this hive of bees. It's one of those kinds of horror films where it's like, if it's committed and well done, it could be creepy, great body horror. There's definitely a scene in here that's heavily influenced by the one birth scene from The Fly. And you could definitely see some Cronenberg nods in this film, and that's one particular one. And that's probably the best piece of body horror that you see in this film, even if the special effects are, like, there's a big difference between what you see in, like, say, The Fly versus this. And there's one particular shot towards the end of the film that, when things get fully realized and you really see what's going on here, the practical effects are like cheap Halloween cosplay. But you could tell this film doesn't have a huge budget. There's that hollow audio sound of when people are talking, and you can tell that the mics aren't high quality or close to them because there's just like this hollow echo of a feeling to the sound editing in the film. And the script isn't particularly strong either. There's some really bad dialogue in this film and really shaky dialogue in this film. And you can tell that the actors are really struggling to try to sell it. And some of them sell it better than others. And some of the performances, like none of the performances in this film feel like really strong. They're either hit or miss, which I think the lead actress has been hit or miss. She has a tough job trying to sell some of the dialogue. And also some of them are just really cheesy and over the top, like this substitute teacher who brings her in after, like, the film starts with, like, her being bullied and people destroying her bees and stuff like that. And, like, the beginning of the film feels like your standard kind of, like, bullying, coming-of-age story. And then it shifts gears. And then once it gets to this farm, the tempo of the film really slows. The pacing starts to crawl. And there's not a whole lot of narrative thrust. And occasionally there's like, oh, here's a moment like there's a subplot with her and the son of this woman, and they're like developing these relationships, and then he disappears, and then some rando like cowboy guy shows up out of nowhere. And a lot of the narrative doesn't make sense. And basically the main takeaways from this film are the moments where it really does the body horror. And that's really what this film's going for. And I saw some comparisons to like basic fable idea of like the returning queen or princess of like Pan's Labyrinth. There's no Pan's Labyrinth. But it does have the same basic kind of idea. It's just this is definitely not as well executed or has as influential and impactful and poignant themes or story and characters to go along with it. So there's a few body horror scenes that I think if you're really into body horror, you'll get at least something out of those scenes. But there's not a whole lot here to keep you interested or connected with these characters. So despite some potential in terms of the horror elements, I feel like Royal Jelly just kind of falls flat. But those are my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think. Let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.